And now it's time to get to the heart of why we're here tonight, to honor and celebrate both scholarship supporters and scholarship recipients, and to create an opportunity to meet each other face to face, and how nice it is to finally be able to do that once again. I hope you've had the opportunity to learn more about one another already this evening. If you haven't heard, we distributed more than $2.1 million in scholarships for the 2021-22 academic year, the most ever. There were nearly 500 unique scholarship opportunities that were awarded to 1,062 students, which was possible only because of the generous donors and supporters in this room. Thank you. You are the reason we have something to celebrate tonight. As a member of the University Advancement Team, I have the perfect vantage point to see how the magic happens. Some of the students in the room may be too young to remember The Wizard of Oz, but tonight I'm going to give you a glimpse of what happens behind the curtain. Some of you have funded named scholarships through an endowment that makes it possible for those awards to continue year after year. Some of you choose to give annually to offer a named scholarship, and some of you support established college or department scholarships to help students achieve their goals. How your gifts come in is another piece of what is happening behind the curtain. Some of you stop into the Alumni and Foundation Center to drop off a check in person, and we always love the opportunity to see you. Some of you mail a check, others transfer stock, grain, or some other asset. Some work as a group to raise funds together. There are organizations and foundations that choose to fund scholarships. And there are those who make scholarships possible through their planned gifts. No matter how a donor makes the gift, each of you choose to support different areas based on your personal experiences, your history with the university, or your perspective on the needs of society and the workforce. It is fascinating to see the very different paths all our donors took to arrive at making the scholarships we're celebrating tonight possible. We are so very grateful that each of you chose the path you did. It's incredible what can happen when generous and passionate people come together. Donors, you are the wizards behind the curtain. You are the ones who make these scholarships possible. Donors, at this time, would you please stand and allow us to show you our deep appreciation. Students, the stories about how the scholarships you have received came about will give you goosebumps. I hope you'll always remember that there is someone behind your scholarship who made an intentional decision to make a financial sacrifice because they believe in you. The best way you can show your appreciation is to work hard and accomplish the amazing things we all know you are capable of achieving. Your educational journey is fun, hard, exciting, exhausting, stimulating, scary, and it will forever be a part of who you are. When you have a tough day and you question whether or not you can keep going, think back to this night. Think back to all the people in this room and to the many, many more who are not with us here tonight. Think of all these people who believe in you. We see you, and we know that you are capable. You will succeed and go on to accomplish great things. You have worked hard and will continue to work hard. You deserve the scholarship you've received. All student scholarship recipients in the room at this time, please stand and allow us to congratulate you on your many achievements thus far. We are truly fortunate to have you all with us here tonight. I hope that one day when you are successful alumni, you will join us at this event again to show your support for students just like you. And now at this time, I'd like to invite President Edward Hinch to the stage to share some remarks. President Hinch.
Thank you, Brian. What a really great evening. It's an opportunity for us to be able to come together and share, to be able to celebrate the stories of successes and the stories of what it means to be able to give a scholarship. But probably the best thing is we get to do this together. face-to-face, where we can talk and enjoy the company of one another as we celebrate all of the different successes that are in this room. The thing about scholarships that I always remember is that no one in this room stands here alone. Along the way, all of us had people who supported us. All of us had different kinds of support, mentorship, encouragement, and nudging. And scholarships play such a big role in helping our students accomplish their educational dreams and helping our students be able to move forward in their lives in very productive and important ways. So my message is really simple. Scholarships are important. Those of you that give scholarships, thank you, because they do shape and change and help and support the success of our students. And to our students, what I find to a person that I've spoken with is that scholarships are not taken for granted. They've earned it, but they also feel an obligation, a compunction, to perform at levels higher than they might have achieved otherwise because there's someone out there that they may not even know. There's someone out there that invested in them and said, you are worth our investment because we think you are capable of amazing and wonderful things. That's what makes scholarships so amazing and important. Now, this is a wonderful opportunity for people to get to know each other a little bit. But sometimes, as you know, you give scholarships to people you may never meet. You might get a thank you or a note, something that's nice. And yet, you've had an important and positive impact on a student's life. The generosity of everyone in this room helps answer the questions that so many students ask about their college experience. Can I afford to go or will I have to drop out? Sometimes after incurring debt from loans. Will I have to take on so much debt that I'll never be able to dig my way out of it? Should I take a gap year or 2 or 3 or 10 and never go to school? Or what happens if I get started and my financial underpinnings fall apart? Should I go to work? Should I take on a job, 2 jobs? What happens if because I'm working so many hours, I don't have the opportunity to excel in my studies? Scholarships help answer all of that. Your generosity helps answer all of that because what you do for our students is help give them a platform from which they can leverage each of their individual talents and each of their abilities in ways that can perform higher than they might have imagined and excel in ways that they can contribute to their families, their communities, our world, in ways that are broader and better than they could have without the support. What makes me thankful about the generosity of scholarships is that it is a commitment to a student in an institution to help them find their best selves, help them pursue their passions in life, and help instill in them an understanding and an awareness that none of us stand alone in this, that we are successful because of those who support us. Our students will be successful in large part because of the contributions and the scholarships that they've had along their way. But what that means is that when they are able, they will remember the importance of support for future generations of students. They will remember that they were helped just as they can help. I am grateful for many things. I am grateful that we can be here together to celebrate tonight. I'm grateful for the stories I've heard and the stories that will be shared tonight. But mostly I'm grateful that as a community we come together, people who support our students and our students, with the common understanding that things we do that help elevate our students beyond what they might have imagined, to help propel them and push them in directions that help them follow and pursue their passions effectively, that is a net good for everybody. That's a net good for us here, for our state, for our country, for our world. We need students to be well educated and ready to engage their communities and their world. And everything we do along the way that helps us accomplish that is something that we all ought to be very proud of. And to our students, when I talk to you about your scholarships, what I hear is opportunity, gratefulness, and appreciation that you have been given this chance to really pursue where your talents and gifts can take you in support of your world. So I just want to conclude by saying thank you to everybody in the room. Thank you for all of you that support our students and all that went into that. But thank you to our students for being serious about pursuing those gifts that will help you be a positive contribution to our society and our world throughout your life. Because the lessons learned, even in this room tonight, the stories shared, are meaningful and memorable. And I think they serve as a good guide. So it is wonderful to see everybody here tonight. It is wonderful to have this time to share at tables that don't work on a Zoom room. Zoom's fine for what it is. This isn't one of those. I am also appreciative of Brian Zins and his team and the advancement team to make all this happen and get people here. This is a night of celebration, and it's also a night of appreciation. So to our students, to all of their supporters in the room, and the people that brought us all together, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, President Inch. We are always excited when any one of our alumni finds a way to engage with the university and to share their Maverick spirit. We are especially excited when an alum decides to support current students by contributing to a scholarship, which is exactly what Bill Wilchin, tonight's keynote speaker, has done. Bill graduated in 1980 with a degree in electronic engineering technology, and he turned that into a very successful and long career. He's now retired from Raytheon, an aerospace and defense company, and he is serving Minnesota State Mankato on our foundation board. He's been contributing to scholarships and impacting the lives of our students for many, many years. It's an honor to invite Bill here to speak to you about how his experiences as a student helped shape his life and why it's so very important to him to give back to the university. I'd ask you all to please join me in welcoming Bill Wilchin to the stage.
I'm going to have to admit, it's been a long time since I've done a presentation in front of a large group of people like you all. So I am a little nervous. I'm going to admit that, all right? So as Brian pointed out, I'm a 1980 grad from Mankato State University. I graduated with a degree actually in electronics engineering technology and computer science. So you wonder, why am I back here? I'm back here because I loved it here. This university matched my personality to perfection. I was able to really explore myself while going to school here. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. It had provided me with the environment, and it was very surprising that when I left the university and I went and got a job, the only big difference was, rather than working on a problem for school, I got paid to work on the same problem on the job I was at. And the thing that was really neat was one of the professors, Dr. Clifford Hendrickson, always gave us a quiz every day in class, which was preparing us for working on problems every day at work. The one thing that I do want to point out, getting back to what Brian, I wouldn't have been able to get my degree if it wasn't for the people that were donors that helped me with a scholarship and funds. I wouldn't have been able to graduate on time, and I want to thank you all for your help in getting me to where I was. The other thing is, just like the scholarship recipients, I thought it was very nice to see you all here. I got to see the person that is recipient of the Wilchin Family Scholarship. Okay, as we were talking, as part of my payback, when I retired, I came back and I lecture. I lecture in the ComSci classes, the electronics engineering classes, and I got into cybersecurity and I lecture there also. As a matter of fact, I did 2 lectures today. And I love doing that. I love the interaction between the students. The other thing is, on one of my visits back here, I agreed to do a family scholarship. And then the other thing is, Kent and others convinced me to join the foundation board, and we'll chat about that also. So the one thing that I debated for a long time was I wanted to show you what I first worked on when I left the university. And I debated it for a long time. But because of the current events of what's going on in the world, I decided I would share that. Can we share that? Okay. This is the first problem I had to work on. It's pretty hard to tell what that is, but that's actually a Russian naval ship in a Russian naval yard. I went to work for a company in Dallas, Texas, E-Systems, and they had a program with one of the intelligence agencies, NRO, National Reconnaissance Office, also known as the Spy in the Sky. And the people that were at E-Systems indicated that if we apply some mathematical equations to that data, we can enhance it to where you can see how many people are working on that vessel. You can see the tools they're using on that vessel, and we can determine a lot of the activities that vessel is used for. So I'm going to point out, this is a before photo. I would love to show you an after photo. The after photo is classified. So if I showed you that, I would go to jail, and we would actually collectively go to jail. All right? So when I've come back and lectured before, this is actually a photo out of a 60-minute segment that actually covers a lot more details of the activities that I have worked on. In one of my classes where I was lecturing, a guy raised his hand and he goes, I want to point out that what Bill said on enhancing that data is very, very true. It's unbelievable how much we could enhance that data. I want to go back. So that was taken in 1984. The person that released that before it was unclassified did go to jail. All right, I point that out. It's been declassified, so that's why I can use it here. We're all safe. All right? The thing that was interesting was, so I graduated from here. I went to work for E-Systems. Because this program was very big in demand, we hired several hundred engineers to work on this effort. Mechanical engineers, software engineers, electronics engineers, and there was a variety of us. Some of them were from these schools. I don't know if you've ever heard of Rice, Purdue, Ohio State, Texas A&M. The crazy thing is, none of them had ever heard of Mankato State. Now I'm going to say there's a however. For whatever reason, I was the star that knew how to do that microprocessor programming. And all of those people that came from those schools were coming to visiting me and asking me if I could help them to do their part of the job on that program. And because of what we learned here about how you work with your other students and working on problems in that in school, I gladly did it. They still didn't know what Mankato State was, but they knew that I had the techniques and the talent to get them to where they needed to be. The key here, I want to point out, is it's not where you graduate from. Like I said, this is a university that I loved. It showed me how to develop my desire and passion for the job. And that's what I would encourage you scholarship recipients to do. Explore yourself here at this university. It was beautiful for me. And that's why one of the reasons why I come back. Okay, so I come back, I lecture, and I don't know where Ashley is. Ashley and Patty go, hey, hey, do you remember when you were going to school? And I go, I kind of do. And they go, do you remember how difficult it was to graduate? And I go, hey, the big thing was my financial needs. As a matter of fact, it was so difficult one year that I actually went to the dean of the engineering department and told him I'm having trouble and I don't know if I'm going to be able to come back in the fall. So they gave me a job at the university where what I did is I worked in the lab and I came up with a new set of class tests and stuff like that for the lab. That's what helped keep me here, as well as the scholarships. All right? So when Patty and Ashley asked me about it, they go, we have determined what is kind of a break point for the students. And I go, ooh, wow, I thought it'd be a lot more than that. And they go, no. And so I go, I am very happy to donate that amount of money, maybe a little bit more. Kent's probably happy with that. And by the way, if you're willing to do it for 3 years, we'll establish a family scholarship for you. I talked it over with my family, and they go, hey, go for it. So I've established the Wilchin Family Scholarship. And right here is Matthew, the recipient this year. We've been chatting all night about it. The one thing that I will come back to is, and just like Brian was saying, so it took me a little while. It took me 30-some years. But I wanted to come back and thank the university for what I was able to do with my life. And that's what I would encourage you to be thinking about. Time doesn't matter, but giving back to the university that helped you, just like you're being helped tonight, would be greatly appreciated. All right? Okay. So the next part of my payback is, so I do the scholarships, I lecture, and Ashley and Kent came to me and go, hey, would you like to join the foundation board? And I go, ooh, I don't know. And I go, I originally thought if I joined the foundation board, it was going to be, and I'll admit this, I originally thought it was going to be window dressing. And I was so totally wrong. I'm being honest, totally wrong. So let's go back over some things. So when I said I would join, they go, hey, it'll take you about 2 years to get accepted to the foundation board. I go, hey, let me explain something. I've done work for several of the intelligence agencies. I don't know if you know who they are, but like that NRO, the Spy in the Sky, NGA, NSA. So I go, I have to take a polygraph test about every 5 years, and I got to fill out all these security forms. They go, hey, that's fine, we'll keep that, we'll take account of that, but it's still going to take you probably a couple of years to get onto the foundation board. And I'm going, wow, what kind of a deal is this? So I got accepted to the foundation board. And as Brian indicated, you really get to see what goes on behind the curtain. And it is unbelievably impressive. You get to see how the funds are used for the university and for the students here. It's very, very impressive. Kent and his team with Paul and Alan, I don't know if Alan's here tonight, but it's very, very, very impressive. Oh, I should point out, we actually get graded as a member of the foundation board. I didn't realize that until they said, hey, we'd like to go over your grade for the year. And I go, I got graded? But the thing they're looking for is participation. So when I said it was window dressing, there is no window dressing. Every member of that foundation board is active. Very, very active. Why? Because they want to make this university better. I wanted to cover a couple of things that I remember at our last kind of big foundation board meeting. So we got into, and we discussed it a little bit here earlier, we want to know why students drop out after the first year. Is it because of finances? Is it because of grades? What is the rationale? Because we want them to stay. Maybe you should pursue another degree. If it's finances or the grades and you want to still stay in that program, let's come up with an assistance program so you can stay here. We will help you with your studies, all right? We will do that. The other thing is, we want, and I was talking with Matthew, get your bachelor's, but we would like to see you pursue a higher education and go for a master's. Especially in today, it would be invaluable to have that master's degree. So we would like to pursue and understand what we can do to help you to do that. Okay, the other thing is, so I come back and the campus has changed, but we want to change it even some more. We've got a major effort in purchasing, and we have purchased some land, but we would like to purchase additional land to develop more student housing, all right? I will admit COVID put a little glitch in things because you're trying to debate how long will it last, what should we do, and we want to make sure we're always moving forward, not sideways, always forward. The other thing, and it's very interesting, is Kent and his team, Paul and Alan, are very deeply in sync with President Inch. And it is impressive to see how well they work together. That is focused on doing a good job for the university as well as the students here. And I'm very glad that I joined the foundation board. I'm glad to be a part of it. Okay, my conclusion. Hopefully I haven't bored you or anything like that. So why am I here? It's part of what you all donors helped me do in getting a college education. So this is the first effort I worked on. In my later part of the career, for some reason, I got into this area called cybersecurity. I don't know if you've ever heard of that or not. So I did cyber for one of those intelligence agencies, which was very challenging. So that's why today I gave a lecture there. The last job I did was, for some reason, my company decided to go for cybersecurity for this country called the UAE. I don't know if you've ever heard of United Arab Emirates. I was the program manager for that. And doing business with an intelligence agency is very demanding. Doing cyber for a country is completely different. And they also operate by a completely different set of rules. Again, I don't want to go to jail. So when they would ask me if we could do something, I would have to come back to the United States and validate what I could do before we went over and did it. So I'll get back to the reason I'm here is my career was really based on what I was able to accomplish here first. So just like Brian did, I would like to congratulate all of you, the scholarship recipients. Congratulations. Go forward and do good things, all right? I point out, this is a university that helped me do it. The other thing is, I almost get somewhat sentimental when I talk about the donors. I wouldn't have been able to do it if it wasn't for you all. And I really mean it. You help us, but in a way, you help make, I'll say, and I'm being very honest and sincere, you help the world and the country be a better place for all of us. So thank you all very, very much. I got one last thing to say. Go Mavs.
Thank you, Bill, for sharing your story with us and helping to inspire another generation of the Maverick family. As I hope you've all picked up on already tonight, the generosity of our donors makes a tremendous impact on our students in so many ways. But in case you missed it, in case you missed that so far, I'm pleased to introduce to you Rihanna Stiff, who will be sharing her story about the difference a scholarship is making for her. Rihanna.
Hello, everyone. If you hear me breathing hard, those 4 steps almost took me out. But hello, my name is Rihanna Stiff, and I am a graduating senior this year, double majoring in political science and mass media, and I am also the recipient of the Truman Scholarship and the Sharon and Richard King Mass Media Scholarship. It is an honor to be here today using this, thank you. It's an honor to be here today using this platform to thank the various donors who have generously given scholarships and the dedicated students who have received scholarships as well. We are celebrating you all today, all of you, because of what you've done, what you've accomplished, and what you've decided to give back to this university, and one day I hope to be able to do the same. During this speech, I will highlight the measurable effects that scholarships have on our students, our lives, and our career prospects by using my story as an example. And my story, that some of you may have heard, is not monolithic in nature and is actually the story of many students across this university, the state, and across the country as well. So I, a now 22-year-old woman, was once a shy and timid, somewhat very shy little girl raised in Southern Illinois. And the city where I am from has a total of 700 residents, one stoplight, one school that encompasses K through 12, and lots of old people. And so my town was one of those places that people inhabit generation after generation, and the peers I graduated with were also the peers that I met in pre-K. There wasn't a large push from my community to explore new terrains or immerse ourselves in diverse experiences. And so with little diversity in backgrounds or mindset, the expectation was for us to live, grow up, and then settle in that place that we're from. Despite this, I've learned many of my values and what's important to me from living and growing up in Mulberry Grove, Illinois. My parents constantly emphasized how important education was, using their own struggles as examples. And both my parents, especially my father, made it very clear that my environment would not dictate my future. They expected greatness from me, and that expectation of exceptionality propelled me forward and encouraged me very early on to take my future seriously. My father, who was a correctional officer, had a jubilant yet no-nonsense approach to life. His confidence in me also often outweighed my own confidence in myself. My mother repeatedly showed me that the beauty of extending grace can be powerful when you're doing it for people outside of yourself. She took in any child that needed a home and was an advocate for children throughout my life. I suppose opposites really do attract, because my somehow very country father from Mississippi convinced my feisty mother from the heart of Chicago to settle in a rural town with him, and that is how I came about. Growing up, my surroundings, coupled with witnessing the sheer amount of vulnerable people who had neither the resources nor the money and experiences to advocate for themselves, quickly helped me settle on my career path. Together, my family and I dreamed, prayed, and planned for a future for me. The first step in this journey was finding a suitable undergraduate institution that could cultivate the hopes of a small-town girl with big dreams. This led me straight to Minnesota State University, Mankato. I began my career at this institution as a political science major, and through the amazing connections I've made and the professors I've met, I now am going to graduate with 2 degrees for the affordable price of 1. I wish my father, John Stiff, could be here today to kind of witness the growth I've been able to experience in the place that he entrusted his little girl with almost 4 years ago. Soon after the excitement of packing me up to be one of the first in my family to attend a 4-year university, the lives of me and my loved ones quickly started to derail. The day before I was set to move in my dorm, my father was diagnosed with a stage 4 glioblastoma brain tumor. Though this tiny brain tumor was discovered very early on in his diagnosis, we soon had to find closure in the fact that he would inevitably be passing away. I had to find a way to grip with the fact that the glue that held our family together would soon be gone. And we knew this aggressive form of brain cancer was inoperable and, of course, terminal. I soon spent the first half of my freshman year wondering how I would live without the man who breathed life and positive affirmations into my dreams. I spent the second half of my first year grieving my father and wondering what would be next for me. Though my hero and my advocate is now gone, with the help of this institution, scholarships, and perseverance, I've been able to pick up the pieces and become an advocate for others now. When I lost my father, I around the same time lost all types of health insurance and financial assistance. Additionally, I have experienced a period of homelessness as recent as a few months ago. I share these parts of my journey without the wish for sympathy, but for empathy for those like me. Looking at me now, you may have not ever suspected those parts of my journey. But it truly shows how the experiences of students are never straightforward and predictable. You never know what a student is going through at any given time. And since coming to Minnesota State University, Mankato, I've been able to build a network and community who have been able to support me through this journey and help me lift myself back up. I have been presented with opportunity after opportunity from attending this institution. I've been pushed out of my comfort zone and closer towards the woman I want to become. I am now the proud student body president of this institution, and this experience of serving and advocating for students has been the most meaningful part of the last 4 years. Working with faculty, staff, and administrators has given me a bird's eye view of higher education and what I truly consider to be the opportunity of a lifetime. This year has been eye-opening, challenging, and so rewarding. And there is something special about seeing how students flourish when supported holistically, which leads me to the point of this reception tonight, which is the impact of scholarships. Without the scholarships I have received in both of my majors, any single factor that I have described to you could have been the catalyst for me stopping school. Each semester, I've had to ask myself, how will you pay for the next semester? And each semester, that answer has been different. The hard reality is many students are just a few $100s away from crisis and catastrophe. And despite this, a scholarship or emergency grant of just a few $100s can also be the difference between one more semester that pushes us closer to graduation or us not coming back at all. Personally, the scholarships I have received have allowed me to reduce the number of jobs I've held from 3 to 2. I have been able to reduce my hours and serve in my student capacity to the best of my abilities. This will also make life better for other students as I try to advocate for them and put in programs in place that will help them in the future. Because of scholarships, my bill this year was cleared in total when I'm usually forced to find an extra few $1,000s through whatever means I can to pay out of pocket or through finding loans. Because of scholarships, I am graduating in a month and planning the next leg of my father's and I journey. Next fall, I'll be heading to the law school of my dreams, and I hope that what I've described to you tonight gives you a better picture of how I've been able to do that. I cannot thank the donors in this room enough and the ones who couldn't attend as well. The investments you all have made in us is an investment in the next 50 years of our nation's nurses, teachers, social workers, psychologists, political figures, and more. As I have mentioned, one scholarship can be the difference between a student deciding to pay for groceries or for rent. It can be the difference between a student having to work 40 hours a week or having time to really concentrate on their studies. Ultimately, a scholarship can be the difference between another semester in school or not. Know that your investments go a long way and the students see the results of your impacts. We really appreciate you, we appreciate your generosity, and we appreciate you deciding to come back and still give back to us. I am an example of that today, and I don't know where my journey would have ended up without scholarships as well. So thank you all, congratulations students, and thank you for listening.
We are always excited when any one of our alumni finds a way to engage with the university and share their Maverick spirit. We are especially excited when an alum who was directly impacted by scholarships decides to give back to support students and the university in unique ways. Unique, much like her college experience. Kendall Dively started at the university with some life experience under her belt and attended classes at our Twin Cities location. The impact scholarships had on her and her experience with the university inspired her to give back. Kendall is championing fundraising for scholarships to support students and is also a member of our alumni board, all while being a full-time engineer. It's our honor to introduce Kendall Dively, class of 2018, as the keynote speaker here tonight. Please join me in welcoming Kendall to the stage.
Hello. Hi. I was going to ask students and donors to stand up, but I won't make you do that again. I did see you. It was nice to see all of you guys. And I'm very glad you're here. To the students in particular, thank you for showing up, because you're here to celebrate yourselves. You've done a little bit extra effort that will make a world of a difference for your education and long-term, just as a metaphor for life. Do a little bit more than anyone else is willing to, and it will get you farther than you can even believe. As far as donors go, thank you for being here as well. You also have made a huge difference in my own life and the lives of several people that I went to school with and that I know personally. So I'm here basically to tell you a few stories. I'm a bit of a storyteller myself. I will limit it to 2, and they are scholarship related, I promise. There were 2 particular times when I was in school where I almost quit, and they were both financially related. and both of them I was saved by earning a scholarship. And it has completely changed my life, and it's the reason that I'm on the alumni board. It's the reason that I continue to volunteer and give back as often as possible. I have been on both sides. I have received a couple scholarships, like I was saying, but I've also, since graduation, turned around with several of my classmates, and have created our own alumni-driven scholarship for the students that we had gone to school with at the Twin Cities Engineering Program and on the Bloomington campus, just because we struggled significantly. It's not just me, I'm just a representative, and I'm only the person that's facilitating the scholarship. I can talk a little bit more about it later, but it's going great. We're in the third year, and this coming year will be the fourth, and so we're hoping to create a legacy, and I'm very excited about it. So anyway, so my two experiences. Oh man, I have not rehearsed this very well. Like, I wanted to be as genuine as possible, so I'm almost 100% gonna cry. Just warning you right now. So when I was in community college, which I decided to go to after I turned 30, when I realized that you pretty much have to have a bachelor's degree in this world to get anything done on a bigger scale. And so I decided to go back, but I had originally gone through the traditional student route of, 18 years old, graduating high school, going into college, and not knowing what I wanted to do. And unfortunately, that resulted in just figuring out that I didn't know what I wanted to do and spending a lot of federal loan money in the process. And that made it a lot more difficult when I went back as an adult, because I was working, I had adult bills to pay. I was trying to pay rent. I was pretty confident in my ability to maintain adulthood at a reasonable level. And then I go to school. I decided I'm going to go for engineering, something that's going to give me, a leg up. I'm always going to have opportunities. So I'm like, I'm going to be one of the very few people that can go to engineering school and work a full-time job. I'm gonna do it. I'm convinced of it, and I can make it work. And also, I don't have that much in savings, and I'm just gonna figure it out as I go. And I get into, I think, my third year of doing part-time engineering school, maybe 10 or 12 credits, and then working my full-time job, which is at minimum of 40 hours a week. And it was fine. It was fine until I get my third year, and I show up to my my circuit analysis 2 class, which is the last engineering class that I needed to get my associate's degree and then move on to get my bachelor's degree. And what had transpired was 1 week into that circuit analysis class, I was informed by my professor that the recommended co-requisite Calculus 4 class that I needed to take, he required it. So I had to pick up an extra 5-credit math class in addition to my physics class and my other engineering class simultaneously. And it resulted about halfway through the semester of sitting in a lab and realizing that I was gonna have to either quit school or quit my job. I had no other choice. I had run out of all my funds, all the savings that I had to pay my way through school. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I remember walking out of the lab, and my circuits professor, the one who required that I pick up the Calculus 4 class, walked by me in the hallway, and I was just trying to get to my car and not cry. Just nobody talk to me. And I'm walking, and I'm almost there, and he says my name, I don't acknowledge him, and then he turns around offended and he yells at me. And then I turn around and burst into tears in front of him and walk out. And then he emails me later that night when I had decided basically that I was gonna have to quit school because I needed to pay my bills. And he was just so kind and apologized and just made it clear that he was there to support me, and that changed my mind that night, that I was going to quit my job and I was going to figure out a way to make it work. And so I started talking to people, basically just kind of like, okay, well, what other solution do I have? I clearly am not going to be able to make income anymore, so what do I do? So I started asking a lot of people, anybody in my classes that I could think of, like how are you getting through it? And a lot of them are young, so they get federal student loans and they can survive that way, and that's fine. And someone had suggested that I apply for scholarships. I don't know why I hadn't thought of that before. I was so busy with work and school, and I just, I didn't have time and processing power in my brain to be able to accommodate that idea. So I started applying, and I did get a scholarship, and that scholarship was a National Science Foundation scholarship, and it included mentoring support, and I would have like monthly meetings with an advisor. And that made a huge difference as well. Just a little bit of advice, a little bit of somebody that I could talk to, just to get a little bit of something extra that I needed, when I was having those down days. And the financial support was the last kind of hurdle. Got me to my associate's degree. I got an associate's degree in physics and in engineering foundations. And then I applied to the Twin Cities Engineering Program on the Bloomington campus, which is an MSU-based program. And it's project-based. It's fascinating. It's been in the news. You should check it out. And I did get accepted into the program. You have to have an associate's degree and your basic engineering classes and your minimum prerequisites for that. So I did get into the program, and it was going great, and I was able to get some student loans through the federal government, but about a year into that, actually probably about a semester into that, into my junior year, I got a notice that that I would have to appeal, basically, because I was denied. I had used too much federal student loans. And so I appealed, and it was accepted. And I thought, great, this is great. They're seeing that, I made mistakes when I was younger, which we all do from time to time, and you learn from them. And I was showing proof through all of my education at that point in the last several years that things had changed, and I had a different outlook. And so when it came around again the next year, I got another notice saying at the very beginning of my senior year, after spending almost 6 years in school, so close. Very beginning of my senior year, I was a week into the semester. I had applied for financial aid, and it was denied. And then I appealed, and it worked the last time, so I wouldn't work this time. And I got denied. And I got denied a week into the semester of my senior year of engineering school, the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. And I was so proud of myself up to this point, and I was so close. And I found out my appeal was denied. And I was given notice that within 5 days, I needed to figure it out, basically pay in full all of my classes, which I think was about $4,500, because I had received another scholarship, which got my the funds down quite significantly, but I still couldn't afford that. I didn't have a job. And I didn't know what to do, so I get this notice. I have 5 days to figure it out. It's a Friday. And I stood up from my desk, and I went to the bathroom, and I cried my eyes out for 3 minutes or something. And the best part about engineering is you learn how to problem solve, those of you who've taken any of these classes before. So the solution came to me a lot quicker this time around. And I realized that okay, well, what can I do? There's other solutions. I can't just sit here and pout. There's got to be something I can do about this. So I thought about Kickstarter. Can I invent anything that I can sell to people in the future that, maybe somebody would give me money, give me hope, they have some faith that I might have the ability to produce something worth value. And then I couldn't think of anything. And so a friend of mine was like, well, we'll just do a GoFundMe, but the hardest thing in the world is to ask for help. When you feel like you've done everything on your own, and you're so confident, and to ask for help at that moment, it just kind of seems like it's just the most difficult thing. And I couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't do it. And after talking to several people, and I was, eventually I got convinced. I put a GoFundMe page up, and I sent it out to a bunch of my friends and family. And my family, blue collar, nobody in my family has a college degree. And they don't have money, and so I really had very little hope. And within 25 hours, all of my funds were paid for. Sorry. This was supposed to be, I was trying to make this funny, and I stood up here, and I realized I was not going to be able to be funny today. I'm sorry. a lot of those donations came from my fellow students who were also financially struggling. And that completely blew my mind. Even if it was $20, sometimes $100, like, these people couldn't afford it either, but, you know, we were supporting each other, and it made a world of a difference, and that's why I'm here today, and that's why I'm volunteering and doing all the things that I can possibly do to finally give back. And I don't know if I can ever meet that, but I hope, you know, that that I will be able to do a fraction of that for other people who might be struggling. I know several of you in this room know exactly what I'm talking about. You've been there. But there are those of us who want to help. And those same people that donated to my GoFundMe, that helped me stay in school for my final semester, after I graduated, they came to me and said, hey, so there are some students still in the program that are in a very similar situation to where you were last year, and we want to help. And they just wanted to do something informal, and I said, yeah, that's great. Let's do it right now. But maybe if we could formalize it, and we could actually create a scholarship, it could be something that's enduring. And let's make it, you know, that solely just alumni from this program that can be part of this, and then it becomes kind of giving back to your friends or friends of friends or people in the future that you're not even going to know, but you know the struggle that they're going through. And so we started it 3 years ago through the university called the Twin Cities Alumni Scholarship Fund. It helps 2 students every year. And we're starting the 4th year. I have my protege here. She's going to be taking over the scholarship fundraising for me starting next year, and she'll take the next 3 years, and then she'll pass it on to the next person. So as more and more people graduate from this program, we're going to hopefully create a legacy, and I'm very, very much looking forward to it, and I really do hope that that it makes the impact that I think it possibly could. So I really do appreciate both sides of this, and the donors. You have no idea the impact that you have on people. I know you have good intentions, but you have a much larger impact than you can even imagine. There are a lot of people you would never be able to meet that whose lives you touch. So I'm very, very much appreciative of everything that you do, and hopefully continue to do, either through financial means or mentoring, or sharing your experiences in any other way. We really do appreciate it. I guess that's all that I have. Thank you very much. And one more thing, I suppose. I do want to encourage students to continue to stay engaged after graduation. And if you could stay engaged early on rather than later, it is much easier to maintain. It will make your lives much, much better in terms of networking and just career opportunities in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kendall, for sharing your story with us, for helping to inspire another generation of the Maverick family. We are very, very proud of you. As I hope you've picked up already tonight, the generosity of our donors makes a tremendous impact on our students in so many ways. Just in case you missed it, and I doubt you did, I am pleased to introduce to you Devin Minke. He will be sharing his story about the difference a scholarship is making for him. Devin.
Thank you for allowing me to share this space and tell my story tonight. How I chose to come to Mankato is a very interesting story, to say the least. As a high schooler, I was never one to say I really want to be a Maverick. Coming here was never really on the table for me. I always wanted to go out of state and attend a college to get that movie-like experience that you see. But reality kind of slowly started to set in for me. And I started to ask myself questions of, did I want to move somewhere where I didn't really know anybody? And financially, I just couldn't do that, coming from a family such as mine. I grew up the eldest of 9 children. So the opportunity to have my schooling covered by my family, by my parents, anything like that, it wasn't really an option for me. So I had to take my looks elsewhere. I started applying to schools here in Minnesota, and when I got an acceptance letter from Minnesota State University Mankato, I was able to take a visit down here to see the campus, but my first reaction was the same as most people's I find from the city, to where I'm kind of asking myself, what is out here on this long drive? And as I was touring campus, the first thing that kind of helped me choose Minnesota State University was actually the Multicultural Center. To hear the things they did, the events they put on, or just the community it brought to the campus, I knew that this is a place that I could possibly see myself. But I never knew this was the place I really, really wanted to be until I came for freshman orientation, where I met Kenneth Reed in the Department of African American Affairs. Kenneth spoke to me about the Black Excellence in You program, where I had a chance to live on the same floor as other black men, attend the same classes as other first-generation black men, while being provided resources and assistance from the wonderful black man that is Kenneth Reed. Understanding that group would give me comfort in such a new place was one of the largest factors of my decision to come down here. I can wrap my experience here in almost one word, and I would say it's community. To be transparent, this was a tough place for me over the last 4 years. Being far away from my family after being such a family-oriented person, the transition was hard to just come down here and try to focus on school the whole time. Also, being a college student from a family where the last person to graduate around me was maybe back in the 1980s or the 1990s, there were so many things that I just did not know coming to college campus. I would have been lost without the people here to support me through my time. As I said earlier, the most important group during my time here was the Black Excellence in You learning community, and especially Kenneth. In more detail, the BU learning community was created in the summer of 2018 to support incoming black men as they transitioned from high school to college by providing them with resources and support throughout their time here. Some things the group was able to do for us during that time was provide academic study groups each week with content-specific tutors for those struggling or needing support in classes, opportunities each month to learn from different black people within the community, and weekly check-in meetings to discuss grades, college life, or just things that you were going through in general. Outside of this group, I was able to find support in the College of Education through one of the most important people through my educational journey, Tracy Stokes Hernandez. Let's give a round of applause for Tracy. I can say confidently that without this woman here to push, encourage, and support me over my 4 years here, I would have very likely dropped out of college, or I would not still be here at Minnesota State University Mankato. When I reflect upon the amount of times Tracy has helped me to give me space where I could vent out my frustrations, whether it was curriculum or individuals, her room was always open for me to come and speak my mind. When it came to scholarship time, no matter how many times I told her I would never get anything like that, or it was just a waste of time, they would never pick me. She was always there to see the potential in me that I could achieve these things. This is the type of person I needed throughout my time here because of that sense of community, to know there was someone else outside of myself that believed in me. And I think that was the only thing I needed to push me to be the best student or individual that I could be. And now I want to share a little story about Tracy and how I was able to receive the news about how I was able to get one of the scholarships tonight. During the spring semester of 2020, right after everyone was sent home due to COVID, I received an email from the ever so amazing Tracy Stokes Hernandez asking me, if I remember correctly, I'm not really sure, to speak to her about a review of her job, which I should have known was fishy from the beginning. And I, of course, said yes, because anytime Tracy asked me anything, I just ask, when do you need it done? So we set up a meeting to discuss whatever was needed, and she surprised me with the first sentence, Devin, this meeting is not a review for myself, it's actually for you. And then she proceeded to bring the representative from the Annexted Family Foundation, Zach Haas, on screen to explain how I was awarded the Marie Nicholson Eustace Scholarship through the College of Education to help support me on my academic journey. When I heard how much the scholarship was worth, I'm going to be very frank, my jaw literally dropped to the floor. I was in utter disbelief that I, a black man from the east side of St. Paul, could receive such an outstanding award to continue my education. A testament to what it meant to me was immediately after receiving the scholarship, I called my mom, I called my grandmother and told them exactly what had happened to me. To hear the cheers in their voices gave me the greatest reward to know my hard work was not going unnoticed. Why this scholarship means so much to me is because without these scholarships, I don't think I would have been able to continue my education. For my first 2 years of college, I was struggling to try and get my tuition paid for each semester with not having the amount they need, but also because of the lack of awareness of just how college works. My freshman year, I was unaware that you had to pay or have a payment plan to pay the rest of your schooling for the semester by mid-September. So being a new fresh face in college, I was just not really used to it. So I was kind of in a scenario of where I've already used all my student loans and still had to pay money afterwards, and was on the brink of not even being able to finish school already. Thankfully, my parents and grandparents were able to help support me through the payment plan option after a week of stressful runs to the campus hub to discuss how this process worked. But this financial barrier already being put up to hinder my college experience, and I hadn't even gotten the opportunity to show who I was as a student yet. I am grateful to have gotten to push through my freshman year, but I was left in the same predicament for my sophomore year where I would have to pay out of pocket to come back to school, and this just wasn't an option for myself nor my family. So I chose to apply and become a community advisor on campus to support myself financially with housing and gain more experience on campus. This helped alleviate the financial stress of my educational experience, but the responsibilities that came with being a CA on top of the 5 to 6 classes that I was already taking, it was just never a good balance for me. Although I was grateful for the opportunity, I knew I could not continue to be a CA the following year and be able to be a productive student. But I also knew I had no other option of how to get through the rest of college without having to take out large private loans or ask family members for money again. I sat there with myself debating what options I really had going forward. When I received this scholarship after so much hardship every year, wondering how I would pay for the next semester, a significant weight had been lifted off not my shoulders, but my family's as well. In addition to that, I was also lucky enough to receive the Hansel Education Scholarship this year, which has helped me through my student teaching and has made a huge difference throughout my senior year. The support I have received from the university and the donors through these scholarships has meant everything to me the last 2 years. These scholarships are a part of the reason I chose to stay to continue my education here at the university, and I think it was a blessing in disguise. Many do not know, but I lost my grandfather, a man who practically raised me, having younger parents 5 days before moving down here for my junior year of college. If I had the same financial barriers I had in the past while having a family grieving and worrying about things that meant more than education, I do not know if I would be here right now. This period of time was extremely hard with the sudden loss of such a staple in our lives, and to have those issues piled on top of an already overbearing world that we had been living in during the summer of 2020 with so much social unrest. These scholarships gave me grace during that time. The support also allowed me to learn so much more about myself and my passions because I have been able to do work in spaces I had never had time to do before. And if I had to work to support myself through my education, I wouldn't have had these experiences at all. 2 experiences that I would like to share about is one where I was able to be Kenneth Reed's assistant on the school board, but also work at a local nonprofit. My place is a local nonprofit that is here to support families in the Mankato community with childcare, but from my time there, it was almost a second home for many of the children and families. Before coming to Mankato, I thought I had to go back home to make the impact I wanted to make because the people there are the ones that needed it. But the same barriers I saw within my own community back home are the same ones that I saw here. My place was able to open my eyes to the trials and tribulations that were not just in my own tiny frame of the world, but the things I wanted to help my community with. Those same individuals needed help elsewhere. Having this experience led me to want to understand more about community advocacy and relationship building, and that is where I found my newfound passion for policy work. Through my own growth outside of the classroom now, I was seeing everything I wanted to change in the classroom or community came down to policies not in place to truly provide what I felt the people or community needed. So I began to look at where I could learn more. Then my mentor, Kenneth Reed, just so happened to be elected to the MAP school board, and I've been able to learn so many amazing things from him during the last year through our work. Being able to use my free time to not just work and wonder how I will pay next month's rent or pay for next semester, but actually utilize it to learn who I am and what I contribute to education has allowed me to grow so much, and for that I am forever grateful. I will be graduating this upcoming May, and I do not know yet what will happen, but I am optimistic for the possibilities that can come. As of right now, I'm a part of an organization called Black Men Teach, located outside of the Twin Cities. That's goal is to prepare and place Black men pursuing an elementary education degree in schools that have a mission of creating an environment that properly reflects the demographics and cultures of their students. Through this organization, one of the goals is to work with schools to place Black men at one of their partner schools that they have cultivated a positive relationship with. So I'll be looking to work at one of those partner schools within Minneapolis or St. Paul after graduation in May. I believe the experiences and relationships I have made while being here these last 4 years have prepared me to not only be the educator I need to be for my students, but also the person I need to be for the world. Being an educator, you are so much more than someone who just teaches kids things like math and reading. You're almost like an extra parent while having somebody's child for 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. You may be a counselor for students during a time of need or crisis. You could be their coach to become better at a sport, their friend to play games with when there are no more partners, or even a role model for the small individuals that may look up to you. Before Mankato or even the year 2020, I did not see this profession in its totality, and I still do not, with me wanting to be a lifelong educator. But this university has made me realize the many things that go into supporting not only students, but families within the community as a teacher. I will use these lessons I have learned here to create the change I would like to see within our educational system. And I'm thankful for the Annexted Family Foundation, which funds the Marie Eustace Nicholson Scholarship. I'm grateful for Alan Pat Hansel, and I'm grateful for Tracy Stokes Hernandez, Kenneth Reed, and the Mankato community for opening my eyes and helping me pursue my passions. One quote I wish to leave you all with today that I hold close to my heart is, "You cannot be what you cannot see." And I hope to be the person in education that everybody can see a little bit of themselves within. Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. Well done. And we are proud of you. To add to that, we've got a special video to share that helps reiterate what scholarships mean to our students.
Getting a scholarship lets me achieve my goals without worrying incredibly a lot about
my financial burden and then not as much debt on my hand after graduation.
Scholarship, any sort of contribution, anything that can help me
pay my bills, and then also work with my schedule and my school schedule.
A scholarship would kind of ease that burden a little bit, maybe open up for me to be able to
set me up for success in the future.
Do research next year instead of finding a part-time.
I've always just tried applying for scholarships and seeing if I can get any relief in that way, because it is kind of tough being just self-sufficient in terms of paying for school.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you so much. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh.
I was not at all expecting that. So it comes as a huge surprise, and just waking up, you tell me this, and all of a sudden, my day is made.
What the heck? Oh my gosh! Oh, that's so exciting.
No way. Oh, that's so awesome.
Oh my gosh, I never thought that I would be able to first of all apply and win university scholarships.
That's amazing. Awesome. Wow. I'm a little bit in shock state.
This means a lot to me because I don't know if you know, I have a 2-year-old son. And so I already have enough on my plate to make sure he gets into daycare and we can afford everything. So this really means a lot.
It means so much to me and my career goals and aspirations. So I can't thank you enough.
Really appreciate that they looked back and remembered how they felt when they were in college.
I don't know what to say. I'm very thankful.
campus, and I appreciate it so much, and just from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
To know that there's like people who actually come back and are invested in students and invested in like our success.
Here's one thing that I think is incredible about scholarships. More than just the money, it's someone saying, it's someone or individuals, like saying like, hey, like we believe in you.
I know that telling a student they've received a scholarship is one of the best parts of the jobs we do. Thank you all for making those moments possible. We are so very grateful to each and every one of you. Each of you here tonight have a special relationship to Minnesota State University Mankato. You are corporate partners, friends, university leaders, alumni, and future alumni. Students, that's you. Some of you will become alumni in just a few short weeks. Congratulations in advance to those of you who are graduating this year. Well done, you did it. But when you cross the stage of commencement, remember your relationship with Minnesota State University Mankato is not ending. In fact, it's just beginning. Before we wrap up this evening's event, I want to share the many ways you can engage with Minnesota State Mankato as alumni. As a Maverick alumni myself, twice, I love to see so many of us gathered here and engaged in actively supporting students. Let me take a moment to quickly recognize all of the alumni who are with us here tonight. Alumni, would you please stand up and be recognized? Students, everyone we just applauded is evidence that what we've said is true. Being a student is truly just the beginning of your engagement with Minnesota State Mankato. You will forever be part of the MAV fam. As a member of this great club of more than 146,000 alumni, you have so many opportunities to deepen your relationship with your alma mater. We'll encourage that by sending you emails about upcoming events and opportunities, and by mailing you the Today magazine twice a year. We invite you to continue coming to campus for sporting events, go Mavs, theater productions, art exhibits, lectureships, and more. Oh, and don't forget, bring your family, friends, and future colleagues as well. There will be many opportunities to give back or pay it forward for the experiences and support you received as a student, just as the incredibly generous folks in the room here tonight have done. You will often hear the phrase through time, talent, and treasure. I'll break that down for you. Time. You can volunteer to mentor a student who is interested in following your professional footsteps. There are opportunities to come back and speak to classes as a guest speaker, or even as a keynote speaker like Kendall did here tonight. Talent. Your experiences on campus and your experiences in your profession are extremely valuable. You can help us by volunteering as an advisory board member within your discipline, or by serving on the alumni board or the foundation board. Your time and talents shared on these boards deepen your connection with your alma mater. I'm proud to say that we have board members in the room here tonight. Alumni and foundation board members, please stand up and allow us to show our gratitude for your many contributions. And treasures. You can make a financial gift to the Minnesota State University Mankato Foundation to support programs, equipment, and students just like you. Yes, there are many generous donors in the room who contribute significant funds to support students at the university. But most of us don't start out like that. Many new alumni start with a gift of $10 or $20 and then give annually as they build their career. All gifts make a difference. No matter how you choose to engage in the future, I want you to know that Alumni Relations is here to support your relationship with Minnesota State University Mankato. Keep in touch, visit our website, keep your contact information with us current. You'll be hearing from me in the future, but I also welcome you to reach out with questions and to inquire about opportunities. Once again, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Good night.